Welcome to the Firewater Review, a podcast dedicated to whiskey reviews. I'm Seth Brown. I'm joined by Aaron Cave, as always. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I am doing swell. Doing swell. This is a big show, man.
It is, yeah.
I've been looking forward to this one. What are we reviewing this episode?
Well, we are going into a little Old Weller antique. Not just any Old Weller antique. We're doing a barrel pick, actually from a local bar here close to me, Columbus, Ohio, Gallo's. Pretty close with those guys, and anytime some barrel picks come in, I usually get a crack at a few of them, and this is one I was really excited for. Nice Old Weller antique, non-chill filtered.
Excellent. Yeah, these things are a hot commodity these days, these Weller antique store picks.
Yeah.
Speaking of store picks, got a few housekeeping notes to share, if that's all right.
It is.
So this, I think, is kind of a big show, not only because of the Weller Antique store pick, but because we, Aaron and myself, the Firewater Review, are now out on our own. But please don't fret. Don't ever fret. Nothing big is changing about the show. If you're listening to us right now, you obviously know that you don't have to resubscribe to the show or anything crazy like that. The show will still be available in all the same places it was before, which is iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. But we're going to add a few more places. We've added Spotify to the mix, so we're now available there. And we should be adding iHeartRadio very soon. And now that we are out on our own, you'll be able to find all of our shows, both past shows and present and future shows, at firewaterreview.com. That is our new, shiny, sparkly website. As for the content of the shows, that too will stay roughly the same. The only slight change, as you will see with this show, is that we plan to focus more heavily on store picks, both reviewing them and picking them. I mean, if you think about it and you look back at a lot of the shows that you and I have done in the past, a lot of them are around store picks. So to an extent, really, the content of the show isn't really going to change all that much.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to getting some other barrel picks scheduled. Hopefully we can look at doing that over the next several months. And with that in mind, we'd like to include you, our lovely listeners, on some of those picks. So now you're probably wondering, how can I get involved in that? Well, you can head over to that brand spanking new website that I mentioned earlier, firewaterreview.com. And there you will find on the homepage down on the right side, it is a newsletter sign up. Our newsletter will be called The Mash Bill. That is a newsletter that we plan to put out probably monthly. We're not going to go crazy and spam you with a bunch of garbage that you don't want to hear about. But it's going to include some news, things like possible upcoming shows, new show releases, some new barrel picks that are available, both some that Aaron and I might be involved in and others that some of our friends or listeners are involved in that you want to share with the world. So we'll include things like that and barrel picks that we have coming up. We'll share that news in there too. As you may or may not know, hopefully you know, because if you do know, that means you've listened to some of our past shows. We have the MB Roland barrels that we picked, so we would be announcing things like that, and then those bottles being ready and etc. But as I mentioned, when we do go on barrel picks, we would love to include a few of you to go with us on those barrel picks. So to do that, you need to subscribe to our newsletter. We will pick from people that have subscribed to that to go on those picks with us. So go over there today and sign up. Get on it. Chop, chop. What else? Oh, also on the website, we have a running list of some of our favorite stores for barrel picks that we've included there. And when I texted Aaron, he told me that unfortunately he doesn't know of any stores in Ohio. So I think Ohio's blank right now. So if you're listening and you're
Yes.
from Ohio, send us your stores in Ohio. But also on that page, there is a form for you to send us the stores or groups that you're a member of. I'm a part of the Atlanta Bourbon Society. They do picks all the time, a few picks a year, four or so picks per year. So we could list groups like that on there. But if you have that, you want to share it, we'd love to add those to the list. It just helps promote your local stores, keeps them happy, and lets others know about them too. Also on the site, we have some Firewater Review merchandise. Aaron has got some pretty sweet t-shirts made up for us. So check those out. And they're super soft. I like them. I wore mine just the other day, actually, while I was at the beach.
I'm wearing mine right now.
Nice. So yeah, those are on there, and the Glencairns, rather, are currently sold out. And I have a couple of emails out for some quotes on that. And there is a whiskey taster. If you follow me personally on Instagram, or I guess recently on the Firewater Review Instagram, you'll notice that there is a stemmed glass that I use. It is a whiskey taster. And I have an email out for a quote on getting some of those. That is personally one of my favorite glasses because the opening to the glass is a little bit larger than what a Glencairn is. And it allows me, again, personally, to get a better nose, better feel for the aromas coming off my whiskey. So I do enjoy that a little bit better. It's not that much more expensive than a Glencairn, I think $1 or $2. So anyway, hopefully we'll have those on the site soon, as well as some other merchandise that I personally am very excited about. Hopefully I'll be able to add that very soon. We'll announce that sort of thing in the newsletter and on Instagram and on shows. I think that's it. You have anything else to add?
I think you nailed it.
I had to make a list of everything I wanted to mention, and I've gone down that list. So that's it. Welcome to the slightly new Firewater Review.
All right.
Now, on to the whiskey. On to the whiskey. Every show, I won't be doing this house cleaning stuff, so you don't have to worry about that. Typically, the shows are just whiskey. That's it. All right. So what you got on Gallows, man?
Well, so like I said, this is an Old Weller Antique barrel selection from Gallo's, not chill filtered. As most people know, I'm not going to go into a ton of history on Old Weller Antique. We have done a previous show on it, maybe two. I can't remember. So if you're interested in getting a little bit of the backstory, go ahead and check out that other show, which will be on the website. But I'll just hit a few points. You know, it's distilled at Buffalo Trace, of course, and it's their wheated mash bill. You know, and of course, Buffalo Trace is owned by the Sazerac Company. Age stated, not really. Assumed to be 6 to 7 years old, and of course, it's 107 proof, and usually retails somewhere between $25-$30, just depending on where you're at. Secondary, I don't. Who cares about that? Being the wheated mash bill from Buffalo Trace, of course, it shares the same mash bill as all the Van Winkles. But I always think, yeah, everyone says it's the stuff that doesn't make the cut for the Van Winkle products. You know, I've never been too sure about that. I know a lot of people say that, but if you think back, the Weller has always had the Weller. It's always been the Weller line, and they've always had their own whiskey. So it's the same mash bill, but it's aged differently, different warehouses, different places. So it's always been its own whiskey. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think people realized that they only have one mash bill for their wheated bourbon. And Julian Van Winkle, several years ago, I can't remember where it was, but it was an interview with him where they asked him, you know, if he weren't able to drink Pappy, what does he drink? And he mentioned Weller. I believe what he mentioned was Special Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. Even with that, I know around here, not every store even get that anymore. And you used to find it all over the place. I mean, any store had special reserve. Now, I went into a store today that had it, but my regular store never even has it, which it's not a big deal. It's a good drinker if you're making cocktails, anything like that. I think when we recorded with Dad's Drinking Bourbon a few weeks ago, we went through the entire lineup, including the, CYPB.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I go back to my notes, I actually rated Special Reserve over 12. I think. I can't remember.
I think you did.
But for me, it was 107 first, the CYPB next, Special Reserve, and then 12. I could see that. But either way, back to the main point is that all of this stuff, because of that comment and people thinking that it is Pappy that doesn't make the cut or whiskey that doesn't make the Pappy cut, people go nuts over it.
Mm-hmm.
They go nuts over it. And to me, in my opinion, yes, the Van Winkle line is good. I personally prefer other whiskeys. That if you had a Van Winkle sitting next to a Sazerac 18, I would say you can have the Pappy. I'm taking the Saz 18. That's just my preference.
And it's so funny that you said that, because I always look back on that night with the Dad's Drinking Bourbon, and there was that Van Winkle 15 sitting on the table, and no one touched it. Not a single person touched it.
No.
Yeah, we had a ton of stuff we were drinking that night, but just a Van Winkle 15 just sitting out in the middle of the table with all the other bourbons, and not a single person touched it.
Yeah.
And it's a good, like you said, it's a good bourbon. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. I don't think it's anything special, and it's just everyone's preference.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's my personal preference. It's good, but if I'm spending that kind of money, then and have the opportunity to buy something else that I personally enjoy more, I'm going to spend my money on the thing that I personally enjoy more.
Yeah.
That's just me. And if that's Pappy for you, then fantastic. Go for it. Not knocking you. So drink what you like, how you like it. All right. We were chatting a little bit before the show. And as I mentioned, doing my little housekeeping, we have stores listed on the website, but there's nothing currently for Ohio. And you were saying that, to your knowledge, at least in the Columbus area, that there aren't any stores that do barrel picks.
I mean, there's plenty of restaurants and bars that do barrel selections just for their restaurant or bar, but a single store, I have not found a single store barrel selection in Columbus. I don't know about Cincinnati or Cleveland. Maybe some places are doing it up there, down there, but in Columbus, no store picks. But a lot of times, if you're in with some of these restaurants and bars, they'll give you a heads up and let you know, because these all do still run through a liquor store. Yeah. So they have to go to a liquor store, then go to the restaurant or bar or whatever. And so they'll let you know, hey, we can hold a couple bottles back for you. You can just go buy it at the liquor store. He'll be behind the counter or something like that. So there's definitely ways to get it in Ohio, but it's just not nearly as easy as going into your local store that has a great barrel pick and picking it up.
Yeah.
So that's a little unfortunate for Ohio bourbon wasteland.
So when you guys do picks for the Whiskey Barrel Society, I think you guys have gone through Cork and Bottle. Yeah,
we've gone through a couple different. So our first few picks, actually, we did with Gallows and split the bottles.
Oh, okay.
So we went down and did, I think it was a Knob Creek and a couple other things, and just split the bottles, almost like a 50-50, or, they'd sell some in this, or keep some for the restaurant and give the rest to us to split between the members. And then when we started getting like crazy big, that's when we kind of finished it off to cork and bottle because, we could get the whole barrel, get everything.
Yeah.
And plus, they had a little bit more of a reach with different distilleries. We weren't able to get a Four Roses pick through Gallows, but with cork and bottle, we could do the Four Roses. And
there's ways around the system.
Yeah, definitely ways around.
Yeah, and with that said, I mean, with all the talk of that, I mean, I was talking to my store. Somebody, I don't know if it was his rep or somebody else was pushing him to do one of the Makers Select picks. And he was a little hesitant. He was like, I don't know. Those things are just so incredibly expensive, and I just worry about sitting on the inventory. And I said, well, what if we were to split it with you?
There you go. I would love to go on a Maker's Select pick.
Yeah. And he said, if you guys would be up for that and you think you could swing it, then I might be interested in doing that.
Oh,
so
nice.
If you're listening to this and you would be interested in Maker's Select barrel pick, let us know, because if there's enough interest, then I'll work with partnering with my local store.
Nice. And who knows, if you sign up for that newsletter, maybe you could go.
Bingo. All right. Anything else to add about OWA Gallows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think I'm ready to taste this and give some notes.
Let's do it.
All right.
When we return, we will share our notes. Welcome back. In the break, we have been sipping on some Old Weller Antique 107, which is a store pick. Actually, I guess this would be more of a bar pick.
Yeah.
A tap room pick from Gallo's Tap Room. And did they partnered with local cantina on this? Is that what that is? Okay.
A lot of times they do that. They'll partner with local cantina and they'll split a barrel. Local cantina does a ton of barrel picks. So a lot of times they'll just split the barrel. It's an easy way to, get rid of product and get new barrels in.
Yeah.
Fast.
Cool. Excellent. All right. Well, per the usual format. See, nothing's really changing. Per the usual format, I will let Mr. Cave kick off with his notes, and I will bring up the rear. Take it away, sir.
All right. So I am going to change it up a little bit.
No,
I'm not.
See,
Never mind.
I was going
I'm not going to change it. I'm not. I just want to see what you're missing. All right. So, on the nose, it's got a great, just standard bourbon nose on this. I love it. It's got some vanilla, honey, brown sugar, a little bit of citrus hanging in there. I really get some nice dark fruits, cherries, a little bit of pepper, and also get some nice oak and dark chocolate. Kind of jumps out at me a little bit, and some light cinnamon. And before we go into the palate, just the mouthfeel on this is just great. It's heavy, it's hot, it coats your mouth really well. Going to the palate, I get big notes of brown sugar, toasted oats, molasses, a little bit of vanilla. Get some nice spice, some nice pepper, cinnamon, clove. Get those dark cherries again. With the citrus, I think I'm picking up a little bit of orange peel, some apricots, and just a nice oak in there. And on the finish, it's just hot, it's spicy, a little dry on the finish, but overall, vanilla, caramel, brown sugar, cinnamon, pepper. It's just everything I want in a bourbon. I love this. I couldn't be happier with this pick. They came out great. They did a stellar job with this. I gave it an 89.
Sweet. Yeah. I would agree with a lot of that. Actually, all of it. So I'm going to change it up. I'm not even going to give my notes. That's spot on. Spot on.
It's done.
All right. Thanks for listening. No, I would agree with a lot of that. For me, I was getting a lot of good baking spice notes on the nose. I get a lot of cinnamon, clove, some light brown sugar, nutmeg, a little bit of allspice in there. Was getting a good bit of dark candied cherries. You mentioned the darker cherries. I was getting more of a candied nose to those cherries. A pinch of caramel, some light dried oak in there. Going back to it though, I like to pour them, have a few sips, let it sit for a little bit, then come back to it. When I revisit it, I was getting a much more pronounced vanilla note to it. Some slight hints of citrus, and just comes across way more creamy and soft on the revisit of that nose. For the palate, great mouthfeel, as you said, a fair amount of viscosity to it, lots of cinnamon, black pepper spice. I get more oak on the palate than where I did anywhere else on this one. It's still not overpowering, though. There's some slight vanilla flavors coming in there that help balance it out really, really well. Finish long, spicy up front. Moves into some of the softer flavors of the vanilla and caramel, but the spice, you mentioned that it's a little bit dry. I get right up front, right when that finish starts kicking in, that's when it gets dry for me. Was getting more of the heavy cinnamon and black pepper notes there on that finish, which caused it to be nice and spicy. But then, like I said, it moves relatively quickly into the softer, sweeter flavors of vanilla and caramel. A little bit of leather in there. I thought it was a really well balanced bourbon, and I'm giving it a 90. Giving this one a 90. And to keep things interesting, so I am actually going to change it up a little bit. Not really, but I didn't realize this until after I had done it. I still have an old style bottle of Old Weller Antique. It's not a store pick. It's just a standard off the shelf bottle of OWA. I jotted down some notes, and I won't go into all that, but I gave it an 88. And after I wrote down all of my notes, I got to thinking, I think I've reviewed this. I think we reviewed it for the show. And I went back through my notebook, and sure enough, on August 17th of 2017, for the Firewater review, I reviewed Old Weller Antique 107, Old Label. Notes were extremely similar, and I gave it an 88.5 on that episode, but we don't like hard math.
Nope.
So I gave it an 88 today. But I was happy to see that I rated it pretty much the same. And like I said, a lot of the similar notes. But I will say that between those two, I felt like the old style bottle may have had older stock in it, just because I was getting a lot more heavy nutmeg and some darker, finer leather notes to it. Much more subtle. There wasn't, the cinnamon and black pepper and, the more spicy notes and flavors that you get are there, but they're a little bit more muted than what I was getting on this store pick anyway, and even some of the newer bottles of Old Weller Antique. So I don't know if it's, slightly younger stock that they're putting in these. I don't really know, but either way, I do prefer the store pick personally.
Yeah, they did a great job. I was pretty pumped when they contacted me about this and said they were getting it in.
And they go so fast.
Oh yeah.
Do they go fast up there too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, splitting it with local, they probably only got maybe, I don't know, I'd probably say less than 100 bottles. And, they got their customers that they'll sell some bottles to. And then the rest, they'll go through. You walk in there and you see it behind the bar. It goes through, it's gone pretty quick.
Yeah. I know if stores get it down here and the word gets out, those bottles are gone within 1 to 2 hours, regardless of the store location.
Yeah.
It's just, if you're not within the immediate vicinity of those stores, or you don't know the store owner or whatever, you probably aren't getting one unless you get one on, some of the local groups through, trade or whatever. But they go very quickly. Hot commodity. Hot. All right, so you gave it, what'd you give it, 89? 89.
You gave 90, so 89.5.
There we go. Boom. Easy math.
Didn't even have to get the calculator out.
No catheters, no. Cathelator?
No, calculator.
So yes, 89.5. Easy math. We dig it. We dig this store pick. And what was the price on this?
here in Columbus, it's about 27-ish,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, they're a little bit more down here. I want to say they're 30 to 35 somewhere. I mean, still not crazy.
Yeah.
Still not crazy. I mean, some of these things, gosh, they go on secondary market for ridiculous prices.
Yeah.
Insane prices. I personally would not pay that for some of these, but that is just me. But if you can find them between 27 and 35, then by all means, absolutely pick them up. You're not going to lose.
Nope.
All right. Anything else to add?
Well, I would just add even non-store pick. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. If you see it on the shelf, pick it up.
Yes.
And I think everyone knows that.
You never know. There may be someone new. May be someone new. All right. Well, I guess that's it. So, Old Weller Antique. This was Gallo's Tap Room and local cantina pick in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. So, if you have a chance to pick that up or any Old Weller Antique store pick, then please do. All right. That wraps it up. We gave this an 89.5. Would you like to tell the folks where to find you?
Well, I am at Bourbon Cave on Instagram and Twitter, and always find me here on the Firewater Review.
Excellent. And I'm Seth P. Brown on Instagram, never on Twitter. And more importantly, this show is Firewater Review on Instagram. And you can now go to the website, firewaterreview.com, and listen to your shows and tell us who your favorite stores are that you get store picks from, and sign up for our newsletter so you have a chance to go on barrel picks with us and pick up a t-shirt. And when the Glencairns are ready, pick those up. So do it now.
Do it.
We enjoy your reviews. We like hearing from you peoples listening to this show. You can do that by leaving reviews in your favorite podcast app, such as iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. You can also find us on the YouTubes, audio only, no video. And we are now, as I mentioned earlier, on Spotify, hopefully very soon on iHeartRadio. But you can also listen to the shows on firewaterreview.com. And by all means, if you want to give us feedback, you can contact us. We've got a form on our page that you can contact us. Let us hear from you. Do it now. That's it. What else you got? Anything?
I do got something else.
What else?
I was just thinking, well, talking about all these store picks and people letting us know what kind of stores they like and what kind of picks they like. If you got a store pick that you really like and you want us to review it on the show, send it our way. Contact us, let us know, send it our way. We'd love to review whatever you got.
Yes. Bam. Thank you. I knew. See? Dang, you're a great partner.
Well, I try. Two heads better than one or whatever that is.
Yes. Well, most of the time it's really just one head because mine is always checked out. But anyway, yeah. No, that is a very good point. Yeah. So if you do have one, please let us know. We'll happily swatch. Bring it back to the 80s. We'll happily swap samples with you if you would feel better about doing that. We can do that too. Yep. Let us hear that as well. You can reach out to us on Instagram for that. You can also find us on Twitter. Forgot about that. At Firewater Review on Twitter. And did you know that we have a Facebook page?
Yes. Yes, we do.
We
forgot about that.
Yes. You can. It's linked to on the website. See, the website's just such a great location for so much whiskey information. So go check it out. So yeah, you can link to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. I'll have to rely on you to tweet because I just don't.
I'll do it. I can get it.
Because if that's the case, I'll just quit plugging Twitter on the show. All right. I think that's it.
That's it.
Let's wrap this thing up. Put a bow on it. Until next time, please drink responsibly and cheers.
Later.